Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is the latest from Andre Overall, director of Troll Hunter and The Autopsy of Jane Doe. In this film, it's 1968 Halloween night in a small Pennsylvania town where a group of teenagers gather at a spooky old house and uncover a book containing scary stories written in blood. When our bargain bin heroine takes this book, fresh stories appear on the blank pages, mirroring the fears of the teenagers. But they soon discover these aren't just stories as the horrors come to life and they are after them. The results are fun, creepy, and nasty. Being the 90s baby that I am, I grew up with Stories to Tell in the Dark books that this film is based off of, as I'm sure you are. I remember discovering them in my elementary school library, and I wasn't even into anything horror back when I was a kid, and I just had to get my hands on these books. They were just so intriguing. Written by Alvin Schwartz and illustrated by Stephen Gamble, the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books paired urban legends with haunting images that are still freaking people out today, obviously. Personally, I thought it was only a matter of time until we got a screen adaptation, and the material really could not be in better hands than producer Guillermo del Toro's. I mean, hello, this was a really great team for this. But I have to say, from the very beginning, from like when this movie was first in development, I was very skeptical. I thought, oh, this is gonna be a studio PG-13 horror movie. From the plot synopsis, I immediately had vibes of the Goosebumps movies of the last couple of years. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like, gonna be kind of kiddie horror. Even if it's PG-13, it'll be, it won't be really fulfilling the potential of the material. And so I just really had a feeling it was gonna be like, I've just been so burned out on these Conjuring movies and all these crap fests where it's like, you go and it's the same thing, and like, you feel like every 5 minutes you can time it until some loud noise assaults your ears, and it's just like, this isn't entertaining, I'm not having a good time, I'm just over it. So, expectations super low for this film. It does have some unnecessary jump scares that do not land, but this film really nails the scares. If that's all you want from it, oh, go for it. It is a good time. The scares in this film ranging from fun to gross to genuinely terrifying. I really have not watched anything like this year that's really scared me. Like, there's been some good horror, but nothing that's really creeped me out. I've been thinking about it recently where I'm like, oh no, I think I'm immune to, at that point when you're just a hardened horror fan and all of a sudden you're just like, well, nothing will get me at this point. I'm not saying this one completely rocked my world, but there was a scene early on, it was even just a shot of this room, and it's just, it is creepy stuff, and when you can pull that off with a PG-13 film, that is the good stuff. That is what you want to do. That's if this is exactly what PG-13 horror should be. Because the material really does not need to be over the top and crazy gratuitous, but it also shouldn't be weakened. No, this is a full PG-13 as it should be horror film. There is a straight up violent murder that is shown, and as it happened, I was like, oh my god, they showed that. That's great. I do have to get to what does not work for me, unfortunately, because that is the other half of the movie. What Scary Stories doesn't have going for it is a strong story to work with. And normally, I really wouldn't want to, lay out a whole plot or anything for anyone, because I like to go in as blind as possible with things, which is mostly how I went into this. I hadn't watched the trailer in a while and tried to stay away from clips and images and stuff. And about 20 minutes in, I was like, yeah, I know this template. I know what we're doing. Okay. And this movie has all of the obligatory scenes. The kids search through the old news headlines for exposition, and then they meet up with an wise old lady for some more exposition, and then they search through a dusty storage room to find files for extra exposition. And for the most part, it works in getting our characters from one scare to the next, which are so fun that it does overall work. I feel like at one point the film pretty much gets to a point where it kind of peaks, and then it's just kind of happening, and that's fine. It's overall still so atmospheric and fun that it's a good time. But I just have to say, what really didn't work for me was the actual character work and the character development. I just was not feeling the heroine in this movie. I just really didn't care for her. I mean, she's written as this bookish, shy girl that then all of a sudden is take charge and figuring out what's going on with this haunted book because the movie needs momentum. But then in between scares, when we don't know what to do with her, she just starts crying about her missing mom. And I just got to the point where I was like, listen, dollar store Sidney Prescott, just get yourself a box of tissues already. You're breaking down more than my 94 Dodge Neon. Her male love interest guy, it's annoying how it works. Okay, so in the very beginning of the movie, this character, this man, is inserted into the group. In a way, he helps the main group of friends and then is immediately screwed over for it. And like any normal person would be like, wow, thanks a lot for that. But he's immediately like trying to get the girl, even though she's like breaking down right in front of him. It's just, I was like, please act like human beings. Although for the most part, I do have to say, the characters weren't as awful as a lot of horror film characters can be. But when I think about it, I'm like, the only character I actually liked was the blonde chick who had like 4 scenes. What I do like about the story, though, is how reflective it is of our fears. Because, like I said, the original stories were all urban legends and such, and things you may have heard around a campfire or seen already in an urban legend movie. I like how the stories reflect the characters' fears because that's what our urban legends are. That's really fun, and I enjoyed that. And sticking with what is good, this movie is pure Halloween aesthetic, like through and through. Like if you just want to go for the scares and the monsters and all of that, you're gonna be 100% satisfied. Like it knocks it out of the park with the whole Halloween look and feel, the atmosphere, the imagery. It's all very creepy and haunting and just, oh, it was so good. I don't know why this wasn't released on Halloween weekend. It's so silly. But you know what? I'm sure it'll be on Blu-ray within like 2 months, so we'll have it for Halloween. Scary stories to tell in the dark. It tells tales you've heard before, but in such a fun and entertaining way that you won't be able to help but get as sucked into the movie as you did the original books. I'm not gonna say it's a great movie, but it is definitely a fun time, and it will for sure itch that horror scratch. Now, it's kind of like It Chapter 1 with crappy characters. That's how I would look at it going into it. Going in, I would expect this. This is how I walked out of the theater. I ended up hearing 2 dudes from my theater go, pretty good movie. And the other went, I liked it. So, I mean, I kind of feel like that's exactly, you'll probably be like, yeah, that was good enough. I'll enjoy that. If you want to see a fun horror film, I would say go for it. If you feel like you can wait, for sure. But I would say I'm going to give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark a 3 out of 5. It had just enough good stuff working for it that I would call it a fun, entertaining movie. But it isn't, the best film I've seen this year. I'll say that. Now, what did you think of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? And what was your favorite story in particular? Because mine was the whole sequence with the pale lady. Oh, she was creepy. Oh my goodness. Whew. Ooh, so creepy. Alrighty. So feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you in my next video.